My favorite 3 questions to ask in business is what should we stop doing? What should we start doing? And what should we do more of? And these are 3 great questions that you can ask literally everybody involved in your business. You can ask this of your customer. You can ask this of your direct reports. Anybody in the company can answer these 3 questions. It's really an awesome thing because when you get down to it and you ask these questions, you'll start to find some trend lines. So I have 500 employees at My Amazon Guy, $20 million digital marketing agency, and we help people sell on Amazon. And what I've really noticed is that these trend lines, when I ask these questions, are very revealing. We find a lot of information out about what's breaking down, what's going well, what customers like. So sometimes when you have a business model and you ask them, what should we stop doing? And all of a sudden you start seeing the same trend lines over and over again. Well, if your business doesn't stop doing that thing that the customer is telling you to stop and that multiple customers are telling you to stop, they're going to fire you, right? Now, if you start to see a trend line on start doing, same thing is going to happen. Because if you don't start doing that activity that the customer is expecting you to do, then they're going to fire you. Same thing with more. So something that they really like that you do, they want you to do it even more. This could be like, I like how you deliver that report. I like how involved you are in telling me how to run my business. I like this about how you do things. I love that you send me videos, right? Well, if you started doing phone calls and they like video deliveries better, you lose some rapport with that customer. These questions can be very revealing for both your customers and your employees. It's also really great self-reflection material. If you really sit down and think about it, like, what should my company stop doing? They should really stop doing that one thing. We send out invoices the same day every month, but in reality, we should send invoices every day of the month and just have somebody start with us and bill the same day, right? That was an activity that I did since day one, but I've talked to dozens of other agencies who all, for whatever reason, have to have that invoice start on the first of every month. Well, what happens is then, let's say they're a 20 brand agency, and that first of the month comes around, and all of a sudden 4 clients cancel all in the same 24-hour period. And that can be very harmful to payroll, very difficult to maintain. But let's say that same 20 brand business had 20 different dates for their invoicing. Then when those cancellations were coming in, it'll be more of a trickle effect because a lot of clients tend to cancel right around receiving an invoice for whatever reason. That's why that nice 30-day clause can be very beneficial to agencies for planning and allocation purposes, a wind down period. It's beneficial to the agencies. It's not as beneficial to clients, truth be told, but it's much better than an annual commitment sort of situation, which has been historically true for most agencies. So that would be like a start doing sort of activity. You can also think about when you hear lots of things about what your employees want to start seeing. So for example, we have a lot of employees in the Philippines who really wanted some sort of medical benefit. And it came up on our summits. It came up on our live Q&As. I do live Q&As as well as with my own people internally. And it was always on the surveys. And so it was very difficult to figure out. I didn't want to have a physical business in the Philippines. But now we have some sort of affiliation to help out with medical in the Philippines. And that was a very important thing to our staff. So that was like a start doing sort of thing. So you can find employees want HR benefits or a certain activity that they'd like to see. Stop doing. You may see some trend lines with this, whether you ask your customers or whether you ask your employees. So stop doing. Here was an example of one that we dealt with. We had too many internal meetings on Mondays, and Mondays was always the busiest day of the week because every client always hits the ground running on Monday, and they're thinking, what do I need? I need to get my agency to do something for me. So we'd always have a lot of activity on Mondays. We wanted to set the tone for the week. We want to set the stage for our employees and like, hey, focus here for the week. But at the same time, we had to measure that against what the reality was of our deliverables. So trying to be reactive on Mondays is more important than being proactive. On Fridays, however, we try and stack a little bit more up, do a lot more trainings internally, and try and encourage proactive measures and proactive deliveries to clients. So that was an activity that we had to stop doing. And you'll notice there is some intersections between the stop and the start. Sometimes when you stop an activity, you need to start a different one, and that's pretty normal. Shout outs was a very important thing that we saw a lot of people liked. The most important core value for managers at My Amazon Guy is being soft on the people. And this is something that we've seen time and time again with the survey results. I'll show you my core values here. I like to dictate the difference between core values and manager values. So to get into my company or stay at my company, you have to maintain the core values. But to be a manager at my company, you have to maintain the core values plus the manager values and differentiate them. And I've changed these. I've probably swapped in a core value every 6 months or so over the past 3 years. And I like to run campaigns and try and see what will take effect and whatnot. But I got to tell you, the soft and the people manager value has been the most discussed value at the company at large. People really don't want to have an asshole boss. It's so important to them that they would rather have a nice boss than a higher pay in some instances. And so that's something that we've really dictated as very important. I used to work in the news industry, and I had news directors that were just raging assholes that I had to work with, and they would swear, and it was like just the F-bomb this, F-bomb that, and it was yelling nonstop and get the news on for 5 o'clock, and felt like working in the Army under a drill sergeant. I hated it. I really wanted to have the ability to prove myself without that sort of environment. So I loved being a reporter, but I hated working for the news industry, if that makes sense in a way. You could Google a Stephen Pope reporter reel if you're curious to see what I was up to. In any case, I had chosen that manager value from day one. And so I always try to instill the value that you can be tough on the issues while still being soft on the people. It is very possible to do both simultaneously. Mix in a little bit of radical candor in there. You got a little Spock symbol because I feel like Spock is like the radical candor king. Some extreme ownership because I really like Jocko and some of the writings and teachings that he taught. And multiply yourself because that is what I define as leadership. And I had to change the word from leadership to multiply yourself to kind of get that across. And I really wanted people to realize that, like, hey, if you don't multiply yourself, 1 + 1 = 3 at my company, right? And just like a mom and a daddy, 1 + 1 = 3. Same concept. You got to be able to create new people in the company. You can't move up at an agency without replacing yourself. It's very important to replace yourself at an agency to create upward mobility, upward momentum. So that was something I really focused a lot of time and attention to teaching. So these are my 3 favorite questions. What should I stop doing? What should I start doing? What should I do more of? And you can ask that of your employees. You can ask that of your customers. And no matter who you ask it, even if you ask yourself this question, you will find actionable things that you should go chase and do. Anytime I am wondering, what should I be doing right now? I ask those 3 questions. And I often ask them of the people around me to go figure out what I should focus on. And it's never led me astray. These are the 3 most important, powerful questions in business, in my opinion. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. And if you don't know, we run an offering for agencies out there. So if you want to go to myguy.agency and learn more about how you can get our SOPs on how to run an agency, we sell them. And you can see them right down at myguy.agency. We got a free case study where I walk through how I built my entire empire and all the things that we're doing. A lot of great information. It's completely free. You can go to myguy.agency and click on the case study and learn more about it. Look forward to serving you guys. Best book ever. Road Less Stupid.